Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to use Quizizz. So it's a lot like Kahoot, but the reason why I like it a lot more is because it gives me a percentage on assessment of how well a student did. I can also assign a quiz as homework for review or an assessment that I would like them to do outside of school. So I like that. You can also play live if you want to, just like Quizizz during classroom time if you want to play against each other. They can still play against each other, but it's a little bit more on their own. And also, as a teacher, like if I just wanted them to get on Quizizz and do a quiz, I can have them do that while I have something else going on. I don't necessarily have to pull up my specific computer up on the projector and literally click every single time they need to switch to the next question. And facilitate it with me. That it kind of can facilitate it itself. So that's kind of why I selected this app to show you, because a lot of people know about Quizizz and they love it. A lot of people know about Kahoot and they like to use that. But Quizizz is similar, but they have a few additional things that I think are more meaningful. Um, so Obviously, the purpose of this is for assessment. You could also do a review and see first maybe how much a student knows before you teach a unit. So you could do a, I like to use these for like pre-tests and post-tests. I use these a lot for review. So typically your audience for this is going to be your students. Your students can even get a Quizizz account and make quizzes if you want them to. I had a few students actually do this. If they forgot to bring their personal protective equipment or the right clothes for a shop class, instead of them just sitting in the classroom and doing homework, I'd say, hey, can you make me quizzes for, shop safety for my freshman class or something like that. I made them responsible, and that not only did they have to look up questions and things like that and create their own questions and the answers, but they also got to learn how to use this app, and they could totally use this later on if they wanted um, to quiz themselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to click on my quizzes. I've clicked on that. I'm signed in. So here are the quizzes that I have uploaded on here. Most of these I've made myself. This icon right here with the two little pages means that I duplicated somebody else's quiz. So that's what I really like Quizizz for, because I can do a search of quizzes that are similar to what I'm trying to create, and I can just duplicate it and then read through the questions and make sure that they are correct, because believe it or not, sometimes you mess up and sometimes your information isn't always right. Your answers aren't always right. And that's okay. People make mistakes, so that's why you have to go ahead and look at it first. Um, so that means that I duplicated it, and it gives you the chance to change things before you save. I've created most of these, so I am going to go ahead and show you my tutorial that I started as a draft. You can add an image. So I'm going to say I'm going to edit this, and it should pop up what it would look like if you were going to create your first quizzes. So this is what you're going to see when you hit create quiz from the beginning. What's going to pop up first is it's going to ask you what you want to call it, if you want to make it public or private. Most of the time I make mine public just because I feel like if there's other ag teachers that are trying to look for quizzes that have to do with their teaching, I'm going to make it public so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. Alright, so I just kind of started adding questions that had to do with plant parts. So what I did was I typed in these questions and these answers. What is xylem? You have to click on the correct answer. If you don't click on it, it's not going to let you finish or save the quiz until you completely write the correct answers. So for this number 2, I actually got this from somebody else's quiz. So here in the search box where it says search for questions, all you do is you type in a topic that you're looking for. So I was talking about plant parts. I'm going to hit go. What's really funny is I know some of these people as fellow teachers that teach agricultural education. So I'm like, oh, hey, I know that this would be a good quiz for my students to take. So they've already made these. So all I have to do if I want to add it to my quiz is I just have to hit this little plus sign. Boop. And then it goes over there. Pretty cool. So I don't honestly have to do anything. Just click these plus signs and it's on my quiz. So why would you want to do this instead of just duplicating somebody else's? Maybe you don't necessarily want to do all of the questions that they have and delete them, because sometimes, I mean, you can make a quiz. These have 20 questions or so, but there's some on here that have literally, that has 35, 52 questions. So I don't want to go ahead and duplicate somebody else's if I only want to pull like maybe five questions off of there. So that's kind of why you can go in and add whatever questions that you want to. So I'm going to hit close. All right. And because I pulled this question from somebody else's quizzes, it already has the right answer on there. So number 4 is the roots. That's correct. Alright, so I'm finished. Oh, well, one thing that I probably should show you is the time. So you can adjust how much time you give a student. You technically could, I mean, I don't know why else you would want to give a student 15 minutes if there's something that they really, really have to think about and write down. But, I mean, there's a lot of different options here for time. So I'm going to go ahead and click finish. And one thing that they always ask you is, what is this quiz for? What grade is it for? And I teach ag ed, so that's 9 to 12. And then it also asks you what subject, because that's how they organize the quizzes that are already made and the information so that other people can look up your questions. So I'm other. And my tag is going to be ag ed. I did a comma, plants, anything has to do with your quiz, and then you just hit finish and create. Alright, so here's my quiz. I can choose whether or not I want to have my students play live. So like I said, I don't have to have my computer up on the projector. It shows who is ranking highest to lowest on the projector on my end, or I can do homework. So I can make my tutorial homework for July at 11:15 p.m. There's some other settings here that you can turn on and off, like jumbling the questions or the answers, showing the answers, playing music, showing the memes, timers, and things like that. So I just hit proceed. And then, then this is what you're going to get to give to your kids so that they can play the game. So there's a link to Google Classroom, so you can put that stuff on there too. But they're going to have to go to join.quizizz.com to join a quiz, and then they're going to have to type in this game code. So I'll show you what it looks like for them. This is what it looks like for them. They will type in the 6-digit code, and then they'll hit proceed. Then they will enter a name, and I always tell them to make sure that it's something that I can verify that it was them. They put like Skater Boy. I'm not going to know who that is, so I make sure that they put some sort of initials or names. So this is kind of cool. I was playing around with it earlier for my tutorial, and I had to exit out of it. So if a student wants to complete a quiz, they can just, oh yes, resume, so I can finish. So the quiz that I was playing earlier was my small engines. It's got images here, so you have to say what it is. And there's a meme. Yay, you got it right. Alright, so that's kind of how I use Quizizz. I really enjoy it. Some standards that you would use this for. As far as for students, the standard for this would be 6A. So that would be teaching students how to utilize different so yeah, to creating communication, learning objectives, things of that nature. Then what I also have is standards for teachers, and I believe that this one is B, so engaging students in exploring um, issues and solving authentic problems using digital tools and resources. It's kind of difficult because it was mainly on assessment, and these standards don't necessarily have assessment, so those are what I think this one uses. So that's all about Quizizz. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to stay tuned. And some of my other videos that I have included with some other different apps.